draws it and puts Reject now 2 sets up.
New stream because the other one did not. The other one crashed. New stream because the other one crashed. New stream because the other one crashed.
Big heads up play there from Reject and a much needed one to try and bury this other team. One more set and they're going to be moving on to yet another semifinal.
Oh my, what a close set that was. My eyes were glued to the screen. Once again, we had a lot of aggression from the side of Reject with the Surge and the Melody. Whenever they had ult, with the barley heals as well, Herbal Tonic just helping them push through. It was impossible in the end for Neva to win this one. That 20-second goal in game 2 also just happened because of the pure aggression. We also see it in the stats here, Arc. Overall,
hope you guys are going to enjoy the stream, guys. Hope you guys are going to enjoy the stream.
Really good. I mean, the drafting's looking a little bit better for me now as well. We had some concerns in the first set. That second set was better. They gave themselves the best possible chance. I mean, they were only 1 goal away from taking the set. I mean, that's really, really commendable, but Shu, a fantastic game. 314 DPS is really, really solid, but the amount of healing as well, which he brought to his team too, to keep everyone standing, to allow Melty to go on the aggressive and open up those opportunities for the team and get those goals in. I mean, really was fantastic. I think that the Ollie, though, was the shining star.
Who's that going? We're going to win this. Who's in my predictions going to win? So be 100 points. I'm at, who we at 90 points right now? Are we at 90? I'm going to gain there 100 points from this one, which is good. Melty is cooking. Melty is legit cooking. Melty is legit cooking, guys. Melty is legit cooking.
Honestly, was so close to not going in, but they just got it through. Really impressive stuff. I think it is still a close call. Niwa turned that one into a 2-1, looking more like last month's, but honestly, Reject in the driver's seat at this point. If Shooting Star gets away from him, Niwa could have an early exit.
They could have. Shooting Star is going to be our next map. Once again, Ollie, Nene, they looked amazing. But with the aggression that Reject showed us so far, they can also take Shooting Star here. It was also such an interesting interaction there with the Surge. He kind of counters Ollie if timed correctly with his ult. That was a really cool interaction. I'm certain we're going to see some more of that. Now, Melody and Surge have been picked up twice so far by Reject. Do you feel like they're going to help any on Shooting Star?
They're not going to be played because they'll be banned for sure. Melody 100% needs to be banned on this map.
Probably.
It's just too much of a pairing with the Gus. I think that in this region as well, they play it more than anyone else on this particular map and mode. So like it will just be banned out. Whoever doesn't have coin toss has to. Is not done. It's a huge blunder and possibly the end of things to come. But you know, Tick of course is pretty much banned across the regions. You know, Gene definitely up there consideration. I think Mr. P's got to be a must here. If it's banned, it opens up the possibility of a Piper as well, which could be interesting to see. But certainly brawlers like that have just got to be considered so highly. Juju as well, I think as well. It's better saying that mid can have a great time.
I would count Mandy to those brawlers as well. She also just recently has gotten her hypercharge, so I feel like she could also be one of the best brawlers to pick or ban here. Just waiting for the player bans to come in here. Kenny, what do you feel like? Do we see some of the
Andy's really broken their hypercharge off. Yeah, hypercharge one is really good.
It is really interesting to see them go unbanned. You got to think if you had the first overall pick, it's certainly on your mind. It's going to be great into sharpshooters, great into Gene, and obviously just having the hypercharged Porter goes absolutely crazy. Gray is the other brawler that immediately came to my mind, and right now I think a huge part of this meta. They don't end up going for it. They go for RT, which is a pretty frequent first pick, I would say, across the world this map, even still. Last month certainly had a strong showing in Bounty, KO in general, but I am a little bit surprised to see it let go. I'm wondering if people are starting to figure out ways to get aggressive into Mr. P. Grabbing the bell may be one way to do that, to bounce shots off those heavier porters if they end up getting the opportunity, but this is certainly interesting to me.
I like the RT pick. I think it makes a lot of sense. Niwa just preying on the idea that we haven't got to ban the Melody if we pick RT first pick. And a lot of people aren't really banning that particular brawler. So, I mean, what can you realistically do as a Melody going into an RT? Reject might still try it, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely now more of a conversation piece to have. But you know, I'm still surprised with the bans that we've got, in all honesty. I think that Bell as a pick is definitely not a bad one, but maybe it's more to take it out of the hands of Niwa, who played it fantastically well in that first set. Juju as well, they're going to have a really good time in that mid. Like I said, the lakeside is just perfectly displayed there against the bush. But if Niwa go in with a Brock and break that bush, there's really little that Judy's going to have in terms of her ability to have extended range in that mid. We've seen that as a great strategy on Shooting Star in the past, and one that can work with the nanny. I mean, the Peep could be utilized in that regard to break that bush, to break that mid wall, and now the tick coming through as well, which again is pretty much a must ban in every other region. So definitely some interesting drafts going on in South Asia. I mean, East Asia rather. I don't mind it. I really don't. I think they've got a different play style, they're a bit more outside of the box. But the nanny's definitely a very strong pick for Niwa. I think that's a tough one to make work, but Max makes it the perfect counterplay. The phase shift gadget, being able to really tank those Peep heads, I think is going to be a big difference maker now as well. The phase shift's got a 15-second cooldown now. That's very quite low on that side of things. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kenny, it could be sneaky sneakers, but I've been saying for the longest time that is the worst gadget in the game. It's kind of ironic, isn't it, that you bring in a new brawler which has literally that same mechanic but 10 times better. I mean, Max out here collecting dust on the gadget, sadly, but that's down to a 12-second cooldown. I just don't think we're ever going to see it, not in competitive, not anytime soon.
No, not when phase shift is what it is. Very well-rounded compositions on both sides. I like the choice of the Max to kind of mess with the sharpshooter capabilities. It's a long-time topic in Brawl Stars. Sharpshooters sometimes can struggle into a really good Max, and we know that East Asia and Melty are more than capable. This is a big set. Niwa need one on the board. Otherwise, it's going to be an early exit for them. And a strong start here for Reject. They can walk over water and easily grab that blue star.
This is my concern. Look at Cookie here on the left-hand side, getting very advantageous, getting a nice position between himself, Shu and Bannerman, and continuing to tap. Really nice accuracy in him. Now is finding some support, nearly pushes forwards, and that's the brawler that you really want to have in this spot here. Bannerman low HP, Shu low HP as well. Reject really struggling now with defense. Mel's trying to open up some space here. It is just that one star, the blue star, no kills just yet, but so far I'm really liking the aggression from Niwa.
Reject could use a little juice. Definitely trapped on their spawn side, and Max needs to deliver with the speed. And Nani Peep incoming, Batman trying to dodge, and does just that. And now slowed down on the right-hand end. Tick will get away, just under 1,000 HP, but alongside that health gear will get so much back so quickly.
Shu in a tough spot here, but nice there from Batman to open up more potential for tapping on the left-hand side. Melty as well, top right, really quite apart from his teammates, but that has brought back flow of action from Niwa. Trying to get the speed he needs that for his team that's there. Get out of jail free card for being stuck in the zone on the spawn side. Now pushing forwards again, pushing back that right side, but it's still no kills or deaths at all. We're pushing 20 seconds. Bannerman goes down! That's the difference maker so far. Niwa took the lead.
And now with the shot clock 15, Reject gotta act fast. Shu left-hand side and Cookie holding him back. Gree there to assist. Top right-hand corner is gonna be a place to keep your eye on. It's a tick head. Melty takes it though. Phase shift through, grabs the kill, but has to get out. Putting pressure on Cookie. Creo gonna go down alongside his teammates and watch him burn. 6-2. Reject go on to match point.
Explosion in those final seconds, and really, really calculated. You gotta love it for Reject there. Not an easy thing to do, but they were able to just find a good angle for it from that right-hand side and just power through with the Max. I really, really love that for them. I mean, gotta hand it to Melty. That was put into practice long before those final seconds as well. Pushing the right-hand side was the plan for about 40 seconds prior, so gotta really give him a lot of credit. Got a face shift maybe out of this though. Just gonna hold on to it. Gets the blue star, that's the most important thing. Cookie though, out of position here, shoots the invisibility, gets the kill as well. That's much better for Reject now. A good 3-star lead to start things off.
They've got no real way to deal with that grass other than maybe a tick head that gets lucky, connects them at the perfect spot. That was one thing we saw last month. People figuring out the tech of using something like a Brock wall break to try and get rid of that. Render Shu/Juju a little more useless, but right now they're rocking and rolling. 3-0 lead. Melty having to deal with this. That's a big-time kill, and they swing the blue star their way. Still down overall, but certainly give themselves a chance here with one kill.
Yeah, it's a good spot for Niwa. They will not be grumbling with that whatsoever. Missed mark there from Batman. Onto the RTs, not great. Keep coming in now. Does find Batman this time. Much better piloting. We didn't see that in the first game. Let's see now as Melty again on that right-hand side. It's really slimy. You've got to hand it to him. I mean, he's really taking on two people every single time to just bring back his teammates into the mid. There's Batman trying to connect with Cookie there. Gets him low. Shoot there with the invisibility as well. That element of this gadget doing a really nice amount of work there, but full better of it. Came back a little bit there. I don't mind it. It looked like he was considering it for a bit. Speed coming in. Should going to hold back though. Just allow Melty to take the forefront. But my concern is that if Melty goes down, it's going to deflate this entire push on the right-hand side and also hand the lead over to Niwa. Now it's 25 seconds approach. Niwa needs to get killed or this one's all over.
See how Niwa handles the pressure. Down 1, 20 seconds on the clock, and this is for their tournament lives. Cookie has now been marked up as well. And
I'm here, guys. I'm here, guys. One more got this here. Oh, about 6. That's good.
They take it with a gadget. Cookie moving in. Now they're putting on the tick mines as well. A hypercharge going down. Left-hand side, they grab one. Grayo needs to make magic happen. He finds the first, needs a second here, but has to hold on, and he does just that. This match will be extended to just another match point.
I think that was the match. Just double checking that was the match. Yeah, I was counting the stars along the way, but oh, such a close ending, honestly. I mean, you could cut the tension with a knife there. Unbelievable stuff. Let's see how we get the response now as, again, Niwa trying to trail things off and bring things back a little bit more. So close. I mean, that final push for me was the turning point, and you got to hand it to them to keep their composure.
It was a nail biter there at the end. Quite the buzzer beater, but Niwa will hold on. So we're going to a game 3 here. Another chance and another opportunity. The last second blue star made all the difference there. Now Melty, a lot of pressure. This is kind of the most we've seen RC encroach on the enemy side.
Batman in a tough spot. And Cookie's going to punish it, gets the mark off, but...
I'm sure I was saying in my stream.
In this spot in such an early stage of the game. Shu finds crew and Nina down to just a couple of hundred HP there.
What's up, Oliver? How you doing? One in my stream, Oliver. How you doing, bro? One in my stream. One in my stream. How you doing? One in my stream.
Opening minutes and just now Niwa trading behind big time.
Reject still holding on this lead, now extending it a little more. A takedown on the Creo Nani on the tail end of that one. A respawn here, and they're going to have to start clawing their way out of it. This is the first time we've really seen the kills explode here early on. Now tripping up over that nest egg. Melty trying to get the extra couple taps. It's not quite enough. They have to burn a super there just to move forward. They find one. Now it's only 3.
Nest egg pop there by Cookie on the left-hand side. Slowed, but already taken advantage of by Reject. Speed coming in, Melty. Shoes marked up, can't aggress too much on this right-hand side. Opens up a little bit of space, but still, Niwa can get the kill. They got the blue star as well, and that would be enough. Oh, good taps from Batman. Shoe low HP though, forced back. Oh, Cookie's gotta be careful, so careful. Down to 1,000 here. Keep coming in, trying to pilot things around. Does find a Batman gets Cookie though. As 11 starts to reach a substantial lead now, and they will take it and proceed to the semi-finals.
Nice, that's good. It's like got the 100 XP now. Got 100 XP, that's good. 100 XP, that's good. Melty cooked. Melty really cooked. Melty really cooked. Nice job. Melty really cooked.
Fellas came to play. We had question marks about Niwa. Would the roster change? Would the meta change mess with them? Unfortunate moment here, and now an opportunity in the semifinals to keep their scoreboard going.
Guys, got 100 points, I believe. Got 100 points, I believe. That's good. 100 points, I believe. See, Aaron, 100 points is 100 points is good.
82% of you at home
3-0 is crazy. 3-0 is crazy.
It was a
3-0
sweep. Reject made it into the semi-finals.
3-0 is crazy.
A very conservative comp here with the Nani tick. That was a meta that we've seen half a year ago, but it wasn't old gold for Niwa. It didn't quite work out.
We try to reload so I can
guys, it was so incredibly close. Only the blue star decided.
Yeah, I think when you consider like how this could on either
reload. Let's see. So it didn't reload. So let's play it. And I did not get my 100 points yet for some reason. Not getting 100 points for some reason. Did not get 100 points.
For me though, and the kills are what matters in Bounty, and Reject had them much more on their side.
Certainly an interesting one. Seeing a donut come out of Creo too. That always breaks my heart a little bit.
It really did. In the end, it was a close match, yet the 3-0 doesn't really reflect it. I feel like the Reject 3-0, the sweep that they put up today was really, really strong of them. Yet, I still feel like we're going to see more of Niwa in the upcoming months.
Hopefully so. I mean, again, my reservation coming in was simply the fact that, you know, with the roster shake-up that they've had, were they going to be able to display what they did last month again? You know, against what was a really tough team. I mean, you know, Reject making the grand finals last month. It was never going to be an easy task, not by any means, or stretch of the imagination. So definitely not the scoreline they would have liked. I think that one that they can still be reflecting on and be relatively proud of some of their decisions, but a bit of a long way to go. But nice to see a new up-and-comer in this region. It's a very tough thing to do. Let's be honest, it is East Asia. Up next, of course, Rival Esports versus Frenzy Gaming. Really looking forward to seeing Rival Esports having qualified for the first time this year. After that, Navi versus Effort result. Again, a lot of eyes on Navi this year too. And of course, that final banger of a matchup, State Division versus Crazy Raccoon, the number 1 and number 4 of this region.
I'm voting for Crazy Raccoon. I'm voting for Crazy Raccoon.
It's going to be brutal, absolutely brutal, no matter what way you look at it. Crazy Raccoon a chance to really extend their lead on that leaderboard from first to the heavens. And for State Division, they've got to get off the mark. They had a tough month last month, and now's their time to try to rekindle things.
Rival Esports versus Frenzy is gonna go up next. Whoever wins that match has to go up against Reject in the semifinals. Who's it gonna be? We're gonna figure out after short break.
That's what you're saying. What's up, guys? Welcome, everyone. Welcome to my stream, everyone. Welcome to my stream. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to my stream. How you guys doing? Welcome to my stream. How you guys doing?
今一番使ってて楽しいキャラクターは B です。で、B は、理由としては、ガジェットが強いのとタンクに対して戦える、長射程の鳥だからです。
はい、現在のメタのキャラクターで
Prediction was correct, that's good. Prediction was correct, that's good. Prediction was correct, that's good. 205 points is good. 205 points is good.
をするっていうのが結構好きなんで、その面でミスター P のウルトだったりだとかがかなり相手目線嫌だと思うんで、そういうのが結構好きです。
今一番使うのが楽しいキャラはスティールですね。なんでかって言ったら投げも強い環境で一番機動性があるキャラクターだと思うんで。
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? What's up, guys? Let's see you guys stay on my stream. We're gonna stay on my stream. What's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
Welcome back to the East Asia Monthly Finals. We already have 1 quarterfinals out of the way already, 3 still to go. And we also have another caster on the line here. Welcome, Trev, to the show.
Thank you. Absolute honor to be back in this region again. It's honestly one of the most mechanically skilled regions, and I'm sure everybody knows at this point, so very intrigued to see how the day plays out.
I'm sure you watched the quarterfinal that we already have down. What stood out to you in that match, Crazy Reject versus Neva?
I mean, not much really stood out to me. It kind of went as expected. I think we expected a 3-0, 3-1, that kind of vibe, and I think they lived up to how they've been played in the past, Reject.
Certainly so. Let's see if this is going to be another sweep. 3-0, maybe? I don't think so. Rival Esports versus Frenzy Gaming, they certainly are going to put up a fight here, Kenny.
I think so too. This one's going to be real interesting. We talked about Mameshi earlier.
Frenzy Gaming versus Rival Esports. I'm going for Rival Esports.
Rival Esports. They've got quite the roster on their hands. Obviously, last month did not live up to expectation. This isn't a team coming to the year that I necessarily thought was going to be top 2, but certainly kind of fighting for an LCQ spot in my mind. So we'll have to see how it goes today.
we want to talk a bit more about this player that we've seen, Cam. He was qualified every monthly final in 2020.
Actually, I did not pick Brawl, but I picked the other one.
Let's talk about Terry.
My big friends did, really.
Well, Terry's definitely known for his tank gameplay. Certainly something that we could kind of anticipate him being the role of for this squad, as you see on the screen. Frank being there, but in this meta right now, we've got several big-time ones. Ollie, who we saw earlier. Hank, who has been hitting the ban stage quite a bit to start off our day, and I don't really anticipate that changing. So we'll see how they utilize Terry and all of his insane mechanics here throughout this match.
There certainly are some brawlers that he is going to be very strong on. Trev, sorry.
No, good over it. I was just gonna say, I think it's quite good to have a tank player when you're in the East Asia region. It's something that doesn't really pop up too often, and it's something that definitely is a big requirement in this meta specifically, at least.
I do think so. Having a tank on your team, a good tank player, certainly goes a long way. Now, we had both those teams playing really well already in the last month. A little bit of a change in rival that now Mameshi is back. How do you feel like, is that going to change the roster, Trev?
I mean, it's definitely going to boost it that a little bit more. I think, as Kenny said, coming into this year, we didn't expect them to be, the greatest team in East Asia, but we expected them to be there along the ride, and I think Mameshi coming back and returning definitely strengthens this roster once more. Rival Esports deserves to be a team that people are scared of, and I think Frenzy Gaming coming into this one should be pretty scared of this roster, because it's three names that, as you mentioned, Terry qualifying a lot, Mameshi, big name, IC, really coming into his own as well over the past year. It's definitely a roster that people should be extremely scared of facing.
Well, I would be scared of them if I would face them in my ranked matches. Talking about their opponents now, Frenzy Gaming, they had a tough time through the qualifier. Is it safe to say that they're the
only Minecraft glasses, that's funny.
So, despite maybe
I'm pretty sure Star would find that funny. That's Minecraft glasses, that's funny.
But he's back now. I do think it's going to put them in a tough spot, though. They lost to Zeta in the upper and lower, didn't have the most competition, so yeah, that's kind of where I stand.
Trev, I already mentioned they had a bit of a tough time during the qualifier. What happened there?
I mean, this is the thing. They had a bit of a loss against Zeta Division. I mean, the thing is, it's a tough time, but, like, is it, though, really? Like, playing Zeta, kind of coming into that one expecting to lose, right? Frenzy Gaming, capable team, should be making a few monthly finals this year, but we still expect them to be losing against Zeta Division, the qualifiers, and in monthly finals. They did manage to get back through the losers bracket, though, with a 3-0 win, so coming back in a convincing fashion just goes to show a nice bounce back from them.
Both teams really strong. I'm also eager to see what you folks at home have voted. We also want to have a look at the maps. And now, since we're going to have Hot Zone for the very first time today, I'm excited to see that Dueling Beetles, a map where throwers could come in handy again. Maybe also a tank that could certainly help rival, right, Kenny?
I think so. I definitely think there's a lot of brawlers and a lot of moving parts on this. Lou is somebody we saw a lot on Hot Zone last one. This particular map, especially if those tanks come into play, I kind of anticipate seeing him there too. Stu showing up all the time here. Ollie in the mix. And B, one of my new favorite brawlers with their hypercharge in the game, I think could be utilized
205 so many different maps, one of them. And I can get Colt's upgrade right now.
We're going to see hopefully a bit more than just 3 sets, as we always like to cost a bit more than just bare minimum, right?
Exactly. I think it's nice to see these games go a bit further than what we have seen so far, and that is very surprising to me. Only 42% of people signing with Rival Esports. It probably just goes to show that they, weren't looking strong in past months without Mameshi, obviously, as well. So it's not what I expected, but I can see where it's coming from.
A little surprised on my end too, to be honest with you. Not what I was anticipating here, Sonny.
Yeah, I didn't either. Honestly, we all are siding with Rival Esports here. Mameshi's back in the roster. It's still, you guys at home seem to think different.
Maybe I should vote for Rival Esports. I don't know. I have a feeling Rival Esports might win. I don't know.
Well, we've got the Bell, Griff, and the B-Bands coming in from the side of Rival Esports. Frenzy Game, banning out the Poco, the Griff, and the Lou. 3 very good bans on both sides. I've got to say the Poco has become extremely annoying here after that gadget rework. Just infinite uses of the anti-stun. spot. But that is another brawl that we need to touch on because Hank is just ridiculous at the moment.
I mean, so good. That hypercharge took him from 0 to hero so quick. It's honestly unbelievable. Along with the take trade as well, that's part of the perk with Hank. If you're receiving damage, dishing damage, it does not matter. You are working towards that hypercharge. And obviously, when the map's a little more open, definitely helps out. But I think even on a semi-close quarter maps like this, depending on... and obviously Griff not in the mix here, could make things a little trickier, but nonetheless, I still think it's a pretty strong guy. Barry has still shown up here a lot. That was the first that came to mind actually for me when I saw these bans go through. I know Rival from watching scrims used the melody a lot in their wins, but Barry comp for something like a Frank show up pretty frequently. So they take advantage of that, or if they wait to get that aggro or tanky brawler later.
Well, I've just taken the drink.
Maybe it's because of the gadget change.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
Brawl just crashed. That sucks. Yeah, we'll back in.
Anti-stun, I should say. Very solid, good against the Frank, good against the Lose, good against pretty much anything that's brought in on this map.
I mean, so many tanks here. Look at, I mean, 3 on that left-hand side and 2 on the right.
Going in.
Possibilities.
It's going to be Daryl and Draco alongside it, and it looks like an immediate takeover here by Frenzy Gaming. A little back and forth, but I think with all the health points on the rival side, they can still continue to push forward.
Yeah, well, a little stun coming in from Umeshi, but Tomodesu not going to be affected by it. Now Dansari going to come in from the right hand side. Double roll, getting some great damage in, but Terry got the hypnotize in there as well. Mira not going to be the best when no tanks are in front of him, but it is about even so far. With Icy in the back lines, though, it should be something that Dansari wants to go and pick up. Nothing yet. And a little dash out there by Mira to provide some heals to the back line. Kept him in the mix too.
Little roll forward from Daryl, a bounce off the wall, but a little hypnosis gonna put him down, and here's that hypercharge. Mira gonna be taken out of his super, and now Rival Esports extend this lead a little bit. First advantage they've had.
Well, Mameshi gonna go for another stun as well. Nice. Flip Danshari with it. Heals gonna be provided by Mira, but not enough. Another one thrown out now as well. Double stun comes through. Mira that up, and the percentage just carries on rolling.
All well on their way to 100%. All they have to do is hold the line, and with 14,000 plus health points, I think Frank could probably do it alone. 100 to 57%. Going to be the final call there in game number 1. Rival Esports starting things strong there, Trav.
Very solid start, you know, and honestly, with a Daryl coming in, you're not expecting it to be the best brawler on the map. It's kind of just a bit of an anti-pick here and there. So it's either going to thrive massively, like we did see it do a few times, where it gets a couple of double rolls in, gets up a couple of kills, but eventually Rival Esports, with this composition that they've got, and it's so strong, with a triple tank and 3 very capable tanks at the moment as well, will surely prevail.
I wonder if other teams are going to copy this after seeing its success here. Obviously, still got to win through in the set. Mameshi rocking the Frank, the King Frank at that as well. But one reason why Barry is so well used on this map is the amount of space he can grant your team, the amount of heals that he's dishing down. Now Draco can be a little more aggressive. He's really messing with Terry here. Ollie going to have to back off for now. Hank going to have to heal up too. But once all 3 of these tanks are on the map, that's just so much to deal with. They can just keep rotating people in and out of that zone.
Yeah, Danshari hypnotized and a flying forwards there with the hypercharge, not going to get too much from it, and the hypnosis will clip him as well, gets that kill too, and what a turnaround for Rival Esports. It seemed like they were going to be in a very dire position there, but a bit of over-aggression from Mira going into the front lines and getting killed really didn't help them too much. Hypercharge availed for
Damn, the triple tank is crazy, bro. Triple tank is actually crazy, bro. Triple tank is actually crazy.
Not able to cycle it, but gets another shot in and finds the cycle now. Danshari goes for the hypercharge to roll in, and Torredesu will
was going to win this one. I was going to win this.
Just getting them down one by one. Icy's still alive. Terry there as well. Torredesu's going to fall, and that's surely going to be the game for Rival Esports. Brawl comes in, but Mameshi's joining him as well.
Nice.
And set one goes convincingly Rival's way.
What a wild draft to kick off this match. Something I definitely didn't expect to see. Triple tank with no support in there. What a bold call. And honestly, it works so well between Hank Hypercharge, Frank Stun, Hypnosis from Ollie. Even if you have something like an...
Right was going this. Right was going this. I was going this. Frank was super. Bro, how did they score that, bro? How did they score that?
Through the gaps. They're the kind of roles that you need to keep an eye on. They're the kind of roles that you need to ban out. And as you can see, the stats are just all Rival Esports here.
That was so fun to watch, honestly, for me as well, from the backside. Terry on the Ollie did phenomenally. We talked so much about how it's good to have one tank on your team. There were 5 tanks on that map, Kenny.
Honestly, I can't remember the last time we've seen that many. And you have the Barry kind of gassing up his teammates with the heals, the amount of footwork that they can get down with all the ice cream on the ground. 650. I mean, that's an insane number for DPS. Ultimately, though, we lost. That might even be the crazier part. 650 DPS in a loss? Triple tank, maybe that's the wave.
And a 606 as well, I've got to say, from IC is pretty decent as well for the Hank. So all the CPS rolling down, it just provided such a good set one between these two teams. But as you can see, the kills just constantly going to Rival Esports, and the Ollie just proving its worth once more in this meta. Two of the better brawlers in this meta is not something that Frenzy Gaming were hoping to play against, I'm sure. But the Daryl seemed a little bit wild to me because it hasn't been that good for quite some time now.
Such a bold call. I can't say it enough. I mean, when's the last time we really see triple tank?
You see him the screenshot?
Really granted, but usually we're seeing if you're going to go double tank, at least a Barry like we see on Frenzy Gaming side, a Poco maybe, a Byron there. These guys just sent it, went for it, and it worked out really well. Health points are such an underrated aspect of Brawl Stars, so really cool to see them kind of take advantage of that.
We've just been on Hot Zone. We're now heading into Gem Grab, the second set of this series. Gem Fort is also going to be a map that is very closed off. A lot of walls, a lot of bushes. Trev, it's going to be another tank fiesta.
Yeah, I mean, from what we've seen from these teams so far, they seem to like the tank, so it wouldn't surprise me if they do come rolling in once more. In Gem Grab, I feel like you've got to be a bit more kind of diverse, though. Rather than just 5 tanks roaming across the map, but I'm going to say that and be proved completely wrong. I can see with what we're seeing so far. Bans should be coming in very shortly between these two teams, and obviously Gem 4 pretty focused in on this mid. Yes, you're going to be playing down the lanes occasionally, but a lot of the fighting is going to be mid-focused.
I would have betted Ollie is banned out this time around. He is going to be banned. We also have a lot of mobility banned out on the side of Frenzy Gaming. They do not like to see that come out of Rival Esports. As we talked about before, Terry is just going to wreak havoc otherwise. Now, Kenny, how are we liking the loot?
I like it a lot on this map, too, to be honest with you. It's very preventative of the tank side of things, but also I think just a strong brawler overall. That hypercharge, still something to be reckoned with. Getting an insta-freeze on any foe just lines up for free shots for a pro player. This is a pretty good response, though, Trav. I mean, we get a Gus and a Griff, so going for a little bit of wall break, the long range and consistency of Gus. Left-hand side, though, locking in these picks quick. They get a Poco off, which I love in this current meta with the gadget spam that you can bring. A lot of utility on this left-hand side, and then they also just bring in a big dog. It's Hank back again.
Yeah, I mean, they have the break and the range, so there's a possibility for Frenzy Gaming here, but when you're staring down the barrel at a Poco and a Hank, it's dangerous times, really. And a Lu as well, just so diverse when you don't have anything to counteract that stun, which obviously they don't, because the Poco has gone the way of Rival Esports. Still possibility of it a little bit further down the, not further down the line now for Frenzy Gaming, as is their last pick. And they're going to take the Surge. I like that. It's a good brawler, very versatile, not too many counters.
Pretty strong comp on this left-hand in, though. I think pairing the Poco and Lu makes a lot of sense, especially considering what Poco's gadget can do. I think a lot of the times they're spamming the heals, but if they do elect to go for that other gadget, they would have been able to kind of lock Lu out of some frozen moments, so that's a good call. I think the Surge can certainly help out too. The dive in, we saw that be a counter, and it's traditionally been one in past metas too, but we'll see what the power of Hank can really bring to the table. He already got them one set. What's a second one here? Two much different compositions. We had a wild one in our first one, but this feels a little more normal, Trav.
Yeah, calm and composed this one, and Rival Esports expecting to be able to get a second set. I feel here they've managed to pick up this Hank again, which is surprising to see us slipping through the bans process time and time again.
It is pretty fun to watch, and gain a lot of rank hard ones that speak to, which is really good. And bushing very well, my friends, right now.
They're going to use it.
I got a 7 win streak with Melody right now.
That are indestructible. So Griff's piggy bank not going to be able to assist them here. Another brawler to keep your eye on. It's going to be Surge on their right hand side. He's getting sneaky, but needs to get that tier 2, tier 3 stage. Otherwise, it's going to make things so much more difficult.
Yeah, well, the ice ring thrown to the right hand side. Danshari not affected by it just yet. A bit of freeze there, but not enough to put him frozen on the spot. Meshi and Mira are going to be able to trade out there.
Really well.
Gets Icy clipped on the edge of it. Terry's in a world of hurt now, using the super to get some heals back, and no damage was found, but able to retreat all the way back. And honestly, he's going to be pretty happy about that death, providing the gems back to someone who's going to be more capable of carrying them.
I think that's a good call out. I mean, they're not happy that they went down. They don't love losing the positioning, but honestly, would have loved to give those gems to a different person, but they died yet again. That's a great cycling coming out of Frenzy Gaming, and we're finally starting to see some life out of these lads.
Yeah, full control of the map now. I see almost going down again, and Danshari locked down on this left-hand side. Hypercharge on the right for Torredesu as well here. And Terry eventually gaining some ground back in the mid. Flicks out that bubble, but not finding any connections, and in a real tough spot to stay alive here. Hypercharge using it, circling round, but not finding the desired connections, and now it all comes... I mean... what are you meant to do against that, Kenny?
Absolutely nothing, but watching Barrel is going to be 15 and 13 gems now in their pockets. Terry just moving all the way back. It's going to be Torredesu down the sideline trying to move forward. Doesn't have the range, but Meshi distracting, and Mira certainly can't do enough damage, especially now that he's got a shield. That hypercharge menacing, Trav.
I mean, you've got to feel for Frenzy Gaming there. They were in control for the majority of it. They were getting kill after kill after kill after kill, and all it takes is one hypercharge from Hank. And to be honest, they are partially to blame for that. Just ban it, guys. Just please ban it. No matter what counters you think you've got to it, they don't exist.
We're on the same wavelength. Look, you just can't put yourself in that situation, and that's what I was getting at in the pre-match over match number 1. This meta feels so tough to draft into, not only because of the newness of all these gadget changes, a fresh set of balances. Our pro players are also juggling a lot of brawlers that have a lot of legitimacy, and Hank is certainly one of them. You have to choose which brawlers you're willing to ban and which you're willing to put up with, and Hank is one right now, especially after seeing that I don't think these pro players can be willing to put up with.
They shouldn't be willing to put up with it, but it seems like they're wanting to play against it for some odd reason. And 6 gems already in the hands of IC, wanting to start a countdown as soon as possible and get this second set in the bank. And a jump back from Torredesu as he finally gets level 2. Very late into the game, considering 7 gems have already been secured and you're playing against Hank, you're expecting a bit of a faster super than that, but IC takes some damage. Oh, actually, the Kooky Popper will bring him down. Mameshi now in a bit of a tough situation. Torredesu jumping over, and this might be the turnaround they desire. Mameshi gets a few shots. He's actually not even gonna... He died, but the stuns there from from the Lu, sorry. And that was a situation that should have been cleaned up way earlier, and the gem should be with Frenzy.
Oh, and now the Hank's got a hypercharge. He's got the extra speed. Danshari has nowhere to walk. Left hand in, Surge trying to get the pinch alongside Mira. It's going to be a little tough now that they have all the gems on that rival side. Moving down this right hand end, it's going to be Griff looking for the long range shots alongside Gus. They have a great flank going now, but now they have to dodge out to Lu. All the snow cones being lunged to the left. It's a hypercharge for Surge. They have to find a kill, but there's just so many health points they have to shred through. Icy, one tap away. It's a missed shot from Mira. Icy survives, and it's going to be a set going the way of Rival Gaming.
I mean, nobody to blame but themselves for that, obviously. They had the chance of even flipping it round in that one, but the Surge just decided, I'm just going to wait, try auto-aim it out and get this Lu in close range. And by the time he got the shots in, he was stunned, and they couldn't get those 7 gems out of there. A little bit unfortunate for them, but you've got to be banning this Hank out in those banning stages. Like, please give yourselves a chance in set 3 and just make that happen for me, I beg.
It was very wise from Frenzy Gaming that they banned out the Ollie, yet they left the Hank open, as you just mentioned, Trev. And this is shaping up to look like another reverse, another sweep on their end. Rival Esports could take this one in 3-0. Kenny, what do Frenzy Gaming have to change in order for them to still turn things around and maybe win the next 2 sets?
I think they need to watch the pre-match. I mean, we talked about Terry the Tank, and then you gave him Hank. That's a lot of rhyming, but nonetheless, 293 DPS, the hypercharge won him borderline both of those games, I would say. I mean, a couple times there where Frenzy Gaming had an opportunity to retake, and obviously a very tough team to go against. Rival Esports are no slouches. Just because last month didn't go their way doesn't mean they aren't capable, but I feel like when you have a Lu, a Poco, and a Hank on the same team, it's going to be pretty difficult to draft into that for no matter what comp. I think their way of getting creative and trying to get around that was this grip wall break, but we talked about it before. Hank is known for being in these close quarter situations, but now that he has a hypercharge, they took a weakness and made it a strength. The more this map opens up, one pop of a hypercharge can eliminate an entire team. You just have to be careful with that. I think that's something that you're not willing to deal with. There's no cheeky way to get around it. I think you just have to ban the Hank.
I mean, in my eyes, that's the only way to deal with it. That's the only way to deal with it. Like, as you said, it's got to be done in this pre-game stage because at the moment it seems like they're getting outskilled and outdrafted. They've got to get a grip back on this game, and as you say, it's got to be in the pre-game to start with.
Let's see if maybe Brawl Ball fits their playstyle a bit better. If maybe they have their meta knowledge down and they know what to draft on this. It sounds like you guys would both just ban out all of the tanks and then they should win that one.
I wish it was that simple. I mean, obviously not that simple. It's very easy to criticize when we're over here. Trav is also a tough one to please in general, I would say. But yeah, I think Hank's just a brawler that is so good in this meta that I'm not willing to put up with it. It's hard, right? There's so many options like, between Poco, Stu, Mr. P, Ollie, Hank. I mean, I just named 5 off the rip like that. But at the end of the day, you kind of got to pick your poison, like I say. And that's just something I don't want on the map.
That's crazy. Almost 45K, I'll get
I agree that I am quite difficult to please, so if they don't manage to please me, I wouldn't be surprised. But there is one thing that they know will push me in that direction, so I'm hoping that Frenzy Gaming do manage to clean that up. But then again, you know, if they manage to not ban the Hank and get it, they're going to be pretty pleased about it. But this is going to be the kind of map and mode, along like the other two as well, to be fair. We've had 3 very tanky maps here, which definitely favors Rival Esports a hefty amount. So they're going to be pretty pleased about the maps that will have come out, the first 3 at least, because this is another map. There's a bit of grass there, there's some walls, and there's a lot of work to be done by tanks.
Travis, hard to please, but trust me, you can bribe him with some chocolate if you want him to think that you're going to win. Let's see if Frenzy Gaming can turn things around here. I would certainly hope for not another 3-0 sweep. We want to see some more Brawl Stars today. We're heading into the draft now. They somewhat listen to you guys. At least the Ollie is gone.
Oh, they're halfway there. I mean, you know, this has been all punt. I do feel like Hank is certainly in the mix here. I don't know if you'd be my top dog. I do respect the Ollie elimination. Think you have to get rid of it. Mr. P, you all know at home what he can do right now. But Poco, Stu, Mr. P, Ollie, kind of the brawlers that come to mind off the rip here. We get some more unique ones like Max going out of the mix. I think B, you're going to see a lot in the band stage here today, maybe more than some of the people at home are expecting. And Otis once again showing up here, Trav. That's an interesting one.
Getting nice.
Yeah, I mean, Otis is fine. I wouldn't say it's up there as one of the best brawlers in the game at the moment, or even one of the best brawlers in Brawl Ball, really. The Mute's nice, the Fat Splatter's nice now that you can use it unlimited amount of times, but I still don't know if it's bannable for me, really.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, hard to say. We don't necessarily have the context of who's got this first pick right now. If I had to guess, honestly, probably the left-hand end with the first pick, right? I mean, Ollie, definitely one that I want to eliminate. He's at the top of my list at least, but obviously just getting a little educational here. Having a few issues with the draft here, so it looks like our bans are going to be reworked, and here we are jumping into it. It's actually a Frank overall first pick, so we got the update. This is what our draft is currently looking like. And Trav, you know what? Credit to these guys. They listened to it. They threw out the Hank. It was actually Rival that did it, though, because they didn't have that first pick.
Yeah, I mean, now that the Hank's ban, though, the Ollie slipped through, which is just great. It's great. I love this. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. You know, as you say, you can never be perfect with me. I always like to kind of pick at things. So I'm glad that the Hank's out of the way at least. But that is two extremely good picks from Rival Esports. And considering first pick Frank, it does surprise me just a little bit. First pick that Brawler definitely leaves yourself open to quite a few holes, but there's some good things that you can pair with the Frank. Poco being banned out again from Rival Esports would have been one of them, but still, Berry, stuff like that, you can still pair with it. Obviously a little bit less good in Brawl Ball than other modes, but that pairing is just devastating no matter where it's played.
I mean, Rival loved their comp so much on the previous map that they just outright banned it as their 3 bans. I think that's pretty telling of what they think of those 3 brawlers, even on a different map and mode. Frank is the first overall is an interesting one to me, too. I mean, to touch on that as well, you know, somebody like Ollie, I totally see being a first overall pick. Frank's a little trickier, though, because you can draft into it. Now, obviously, with Lou out of the way and some of those other counters, makes things a little bit better for Frank. But I always feel like drafting an outright tank that early on kind of sets yourself up for failure sometimes, or at least makes it a little harder.
Yeah, I kind of expect with, you know, like an Ollie or something like that pretty early on. Okay, well, maybe we're a little bit flipped up of what was going on here. They did pick the Ollie, one of the early round. Torres were going to be on that Brawler. And over here we had the Meeple along with the Melody and Frank instead of the Ollie and Melody. Now the Colette comes through, and that's a good kill. And honestly, a very good start for Friends Gaming.
Excellent start. Colette's going to be able to walk this in. So scratch that draft, folks. This is what we're working with here. Frank, Meeple, Melody going to be our blue side. On the right, that Colette showing up as a direct counter into the Frank. Not sure the map in order, but this could be filthy. A little jump through with the hoverboard. And Frenzy Gaming finally picking one up here.
I mean, who's surprised they've got the Ollie? You know, it's kind of expected at this point. So really, really nice stuff from Frenzy Gaming there. We didn't see too much of that game other than just Frenzy completely decimating the back lines of Rival Esports, but Rival Esports going to be hoping to get a bit of a better hold of the game this time, but what a comp this is from Frenzy, honestly.
It's a perfect countermeasure having Colette into the Frank. And Ollie there alongside it. I mean, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch, and along with it, a super pesky Brawler and Amber. We got Meeple once again. We'll see if he pans out. There's somebody I was anticipating seeing a lot more in the monthly finals, but I was curious to see how these pro players dealt with him. Interesting to see that I don't think he has any super hard counters, but he's certainly a frustrating Brawler to deal with, alongside Terry, who's just up in their faces right now, dancing around with these musical notes. They find their first. I mean, we need to see Rival Esports start putting some numbers up, and this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, well, Hypercharge available from Terry now. Might be able to slot this one in. Goes for the dash forwards. Really nice play there from Terry to make the move, and him in the backlines really made the big difference from Rival Esports there. Able to pinch back. Then obviously the Colette super being used on the Melody means it's not being used on Frank.
Frank being pushed out here early. Getting a wall kind of movement there out of the Meeple. It's a stun going through. It's so close, but not quite enough. Frank able to hold on with about 1,000 HP. Terry trying to build his teammates a little room, and he's going for 3. It's a team wipe there as Ollie now respawns. It's a hypercharge from Frank, though. He really wants to walk this one in. A clever use of the gadget, a good attempt, but not quite enough. It's going to be our first match point here in our second one. It's going to be Terry and his teammates with 1 away from moving to our semifinals.
I mean, it was much better managed that time. It seemed like they got the matchups a bit better, and obviously it's tough to come out against such a counter to Frank and get the matchups pretty much perfect, because he really doesn't have any good matchups in this one, but managed to make it work regardless. Ollie going to be trying to use that gadget towards the end there and stun him out, but was unable to, as Icy kind of predicted it and moved a little bit better.
Mameshi with a quick frag, just out of the distance, Ollie's going to be able to survive. Now Amber dropping a gadget, Frank swiping away, and Mira back needs to be shadowing that Frank, and they know it. One tap, you just saw how much damage it did. The super goes through, but it's not enough. Colette going to be able to get that elimination. Dishari, right-hand dinned. It's going to be Mameshi with yet another super, trying to hold off this entire Frenzy Gaming roster. Buys just enough time for IC to come back, but they're in a full defensive stance. They have no room to walk.
Yeah, Mirror over this right-hand side wants to try to pinch in on IC here and get a nice super through the back lines and cycle it out, but Mameshi not giving him that opportunity. Terry baiting out that gadget. Nice play from him. That's going to be great in this position. Now the jump comes through to him. Oh, what a play from Torres. The pass to himself. Gadget over the wall and catches it. Brilliance from him.
It's a great start here for Frenzy Gaming. They got a hold on here. Ollie diving in the stun to kind of countermeasure that. Love that gadget choice, but Mira has the hypercharge, the pushback, and a bucket alongside it. A flashy play to keep Frenzy Gaming's hopes alive.
Yeah, don't want to be finishing off in a sweep in this one. Really nice stuff from Frenzy there. That little pass to himself for the Ollie, brilliant stuff. And then Colette was like, you know what, can't let you have all the fun. I'm going to go score an amazing goal of my own. And that's exactly what he did with the hypercharge, just pushing him back off the wall. Was expecting a little bit of a Frank super a bit earlier, considering, you know, then the Colette super wouldn't have been able to be used on the other two because it had been forced out on the Frank, but just wasn't really meant to be, didn't happen, and Frenzy Gaming hold on a little bit longer.
That first Brawl Ball game was one of the quickest games I've ever witnessed. Frenzy Gaming taking it. It looked like Rival Esports had everything it takes to turn things around, to maybe still make the 3-0 happen, but they didn't account for that Ollie and Colette combination, especially Colette. Usually you pick the shield star power for her on Brawl Ball. It certainly helps to pick the push it. We also see on the damage side of things, Colette into Frank is amazing.
Yeah, just the beneficiary of that 440 DPS. No wonder they got the star player. So much output there. One thing to note too, they were down in the kill category. I mean, by a decent amount. It was a relatively quick set, I'd say, all things considered. But at the end of the day, I think this is a much better showing and really tells how much the draft matters, right? Now that we have a little bit of hindsight, can look back and see how this went. We don't know the order of operations, but I think Colette certainly came after the Frank, and sometimes you just need a direct answer into your opponents. You can go with the meta and all that, but I think this was a good call out from Frenzy Gaming. They were well equipped to get a goal scorer and something like an Ollie. They had a good blend of defense, offense like this, and I thought it was a big step up from what we've seen in previous stats.
I think it worked pretty well overall from both teams. Like, Rival did what they could with the comp that they drafted, but Frenzy Gaming just drafted so much better in this one. And, you know, it was what we said after set 2, they need to do better in that phase of the game. The pre-game needs to be where they're thriving, and that's exactly what they did in this third set, and that's why they're clinging on to Layer Cake.
It also seems like Brawl Ball is where they are thriving. Now they have to continue doing that another 2 sets to turn things around. They need the reverse sweep in order for them to still move on into the semifinals, so that's not an easy task. Layer Cake is back in the competitive map pool. I love to see that. I used to play Dynamite on this map back in my day. Trev, you also have some esports history. You feel like Dyna's coming back, or not anytime soon?
I don't know. I feel like I was just playing non-stop mirror matches of like Brock Piper on this, to be honest with you. Maybe a bit of tick thrown in there as well, but like it was just non-stop mirror matchups of those brawlers, a little bit of a map break, and then just a long-range frenzy with a thrower in there for the early game as well. But I feel like those comps still do exist, but it's definitely a lot more aggressive these days. We've even seen Stews on it, stuff like that, melodies flying left and right, and throwers are a lot more prominent, you know, the Jujus because of all the grass. Bit of range on that as well. It's a scary brawler.
Yeah, back in our day, we didn't have draft yet, so a lot of mirror matches. I certainly do miss that. Actually, do I? No, I think I prefer draft. I think we stick to the draft for now. Kenny, we're going to start anytime soon. Do you feel like there's a brawler you want to see banned out?
I mean, I think Mr. P for sure, right? You know, we've talked a lot about Hank and things like that, but Mr. P was definitely one that came to mind immediately, at least for this map and mode. The walls can be really frustrating to go against, and once you get that turret established in the very back, you're just kind of cycling porters endlessly unless the other team can get really aggressive. I do love Ollie, though, on this map. I've seen it a ton in scrims. I think it can be very successful. Ollie, overall, I think is the most standout brawler for me right now, just in general. I think in a pro player's hands, they're going to be able to utilize him so well between the blend of offense, defense, the hypnosis. Anytime you can get free shots on an enemy brawler, pro players are going to take advantage.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just saying, you know, the Brock Lil Piper little combo comes down quite often. We see a Brock slide on in, so maybe that's a possibility, but with the aggression that Rival Esports started off with, I would be surprised if that was the case. You start off with an Ollie and, you go some long-range stuff. You might be in a bit of trouble towards the late game if you get pushed back. So we'll see what Frenzy Gaming do choose to go with, but the Brock's a good start for some wall break. Kenji in there as well. It's going to be good against some kind of less aggressive brawlers, but when it comes to brawlers with quite a lot of HP, which it seems like a Rival Esports are quite into, maybe not as much, but Byron is going to be one that Kenji should be able to target and kill.
Definitely an interesting one, pairing the Brock with somebody that doesn't necessarily benefit from wall break. I think Kenji kind of wants to work in these close quarter spaces, does have a super able to dive out at a moment's notice, and Carl, one that I'm definitely keeping my eye on for the day. One of the things that has really shaped up with him is the gadget change. I've seen a ton of pros be utilizing the other gadget. Most of the time we're seeing them run with the flying hook, but even in a mode like Bounty where intuitively you'd think, hey, I should just flying hook to get this star, I have seen them test out the other one. I'm curious to see what they end up doing. Gale, my favorite brawler in the game, finally back in business. I will say he's not the strongest in the world right now, but could be a good preventative measure into that ollie.
Kenny, I know you love it. I know you love it.
I love it in my heart.
I'm hoping it does well for you, but I'm not sure it will.
I'm not sure it will either.
Because, as you say, not the best in the game at the moment, but I love the wishful thinking from Frenzy Gaming, and clearly it's just a bit of a homage to the glorious caster Kenny.
Yeah, I'm sure Frenzy Gaming's first thought was, you know what, Kenny would really love to see this. It's been a while since we've had a Gale.
Life on the line, but we've got to impress the casters.
Well, they certainly did. Made my heart happy, but you know what made me a little happier? Seeing this one go to a set 5. Dan Shari starting off in the corner here, pinned against his spawn, and Terry gets the frag. It's going to be a blue star in Icy's hands, and now Kenji going to have to space the floor a little bit here, too. Hot start for Rival Esports.
I mean, we've got to note that the Gale is the only one that didn't die, right? So that's already a great start. But Toradesu through the back lines coming on the right-hand side, just picked up his super, but already a hypercharge from Carl. It's not one of the strongest, but definitely still going to be beneficial to use it along with that super, so we'll see what does happen. Now, Icy sliding on in, Kenji going to super backwards, and Terry still not going down, jumps away from that Brock super, and that's 8-1 already, and Rival Esports flying.
Nowhere to hide for him here either. Kenji is just going to have to walk it forward and hope to walk him down alongside it. And now that this is a little more open space as well, Gale's not going to necessarily benefit. This is not a long-range brawler like Brock. They have a well-rounded comp, but not all of them are going to have their strength. They're diving in here, though. Frenzy Gaming need to get some kills. They find one, but lose one in the process. Terry, Icy will survive. Those are the two brawlers with all the stars on their noggins. This is where Frenzy Gaming have to turn their attention.
Well, Terry over the right side, just trying to keep Mirror back. Toradesu does have the shield activated, can only tank one of these shots, but Icy is going to be prime target. Super comes down, that's going to be a fair amount of damage, but only a couple of those last rockets actually managed to hit. Flying hook towards the left-hand side here. Terry's going to go in, not find anything just yet. Spin from Icy, goes towards the back lines, heel hits. Can he survive this? Toradesu's still on top of him, but he gets another super and he should be able to survive this. Terry gets another, but Mira is going to go down as well. And Rival Esports decimate Frenzy Gaming. What looked like a bad position turned into a very good one. Well, Kenji Super is not going to make a change to that either. Toradesu unable to get much done, regardless of all the aggression that he was kind of bringing in. It didn't seem like it really worked out in the end. So we'll see what is going to happen in this next game, whether or not we're going to see a few reparations here and there, or if Rival Esports are going to completely run away with this one and take the set, move on to the semi-finals.
Well played there. Rival Esports running away with it. A really impressive start. And now they're going to do just that once again. It's going to be Rival Esports with a 2-1 lead. They don't get their hands on that blue star. It's actually going to be Kenji, I imagine, dashing forward for it and then just trying to get out. That blue star can make a big difference in the pacing of a match, how things feel. So definitely going to be curious to see how things change up. It's safe to say, though, Frenzy Gaming not looking good in that first one. They had to change up their strategy.
Yeah, well, they are down 1. Toradesu swooping in and trying to get the job done here, but more of the same. It's just kill after kill after kill for Rival Esports. And Terry going in for some more. Jump pad away, though. Dan Shari is going to go down, and Mira, I mean, they're running in one by one now. There's really, hope is dwindling for Frenzy.
Oh, it's a tough sight for sure. And Gale just kind of in and out with that launch pad. I mean, it's fun. It could be a little cheesy at times, but you really got to play it perfectly. Curious to see if they can try and take advantage of that dive away once again. And Mameshi going to be able to fall now. 3 stars this separated. Blue star still with Frenzy Gaming, but much work to be done.
I mean, honestly, if Toradesu does stop dying, they might have a chance in the backlines here if Dan Shari can keep on doing the work that he's doing. Same with Mira if he can get a little bit of a pinch in and get a super possibility. With Terry going to go in here, should be able to hypnotize Dan Shari and get him taken down, but gets another super along the way and just trying to drag them back. Mira jump pads away, nice jump pad from him, but with 30 seconds left and massive amounts of stars down, and we see Kenji go down again. What hope do they have?
Gonna have to get real creative. Have to make a comeback here as well. There's a lot of stars to make up for and only 15 seconds to do so. IC with 5 on his head and the blue star with Terry. IC diving in. Denshari trying to deal with him. Now they've spaced the floor a little bit. Moveshi falls. They grab one though. Terry secures the kill and IC just buying time on the clock. 5 stars being the separator and Rival Esports will walk away with it. They will be moving on to our semifinals.
I think deserved as well after that last performance from Frenzy Gaming there. They looked so hopeful. I was really hopeful for them after that third set. Drafted well, played it well, and then kind of just reverted to default settings of just drafting some pretty odd things. It was really a little bit of a complete turnaround.
It didn't really work out for them in the end. They did take a set, however, so we're happy as casters. We at least saw 4 maps. That's beautiful. Kenny, I want to touch up a little bit. You were talking about during the draft phase how Carl now is more often played with heat ejector instead of the flying hook. Now that the gadgets have been reworked, it did work out well for them. I see it really made the flying hook work there.
I think in Bounty it just makes too much sense. I mean, honestly, in scrims, a lot of the times these pros are just testing out anything and everything. If they have an idea, they're going to go for it. But ultimately, if you can get a free blue star, why not? I think it just makes too much sense with the game mode. Maybe with the timings of the gadgets, you might see it depending on other maps and mode. I think Carl shows up a little bit more now due to Mr. P's prevalence in the meta. Just having the pickaxe fly through the spawners really helps. But that's a massive draft advantage, I think. I mean, honestly, you see Ollie and Byron, which is a powerful comp, and then you see Carl with a 10-piece. I mean, goodness gracious. It's just too much to deal with. Kenji, a good brawler. Brock, a fine brawler. Gale, number 1 in my heart, not number 1 on the map, though.
It seems just a very odd draft, at least in my opinion, for Frenzy Gaming. For Carl to be able to get 10 kills in a map like this, you kind of expect him to be kind of sitting back, waiting for his opportunity, but he didn't have to wait for any opportunities because they were coming directly to him over and over and over again. It was just kill after kill after kill, and he really didn't have to put that much effort into getting them, which is even more of an issue in my opinion. Frenzy Gaming, I'm sure they will be back though. I'm sure they'll be stronger than ever in the coming months because they don't seem like, you know, a bad team. They're still mechanically gifted, as the majority of players are in this region, but I think they've just got a little bit of ironing out to do when it comes to that draft.
Yeah, Rival were certainly happy with the choice of the gadgets, with the choice of the brawlers. I felt like their meta picks were truly impeccable. Like, their draft overall looked really solid. Also their playstyle. And with that, they move on into the semi-finals now with a 3-1 victory. Against Reject though? Is it gonna be that easy? Could that be a 3-2 finally, Kenny?
I think it could be. I think Reject and Rival Esports is setting up to be a pretty good one. Again, Reject had a phenomenal previous month. They're off to a hot start here with the 3-0 victory against a team that honestly challenged them more than just about any team last month, obviously outside a loss. But nonetheless, I think this could shape up to be one of the better semifinals of the month.
I hope so as well. I really do. I feel like, you know, it very heavily depends on this lower bracket and how competitive that's going to be, because it's a very strong lower bracket, don't get me wrong, especially that quarterfinal number 4. That is going to be the game of the day and what should be the grand final in a lot of people's eyes. So we've got to get through this Navi versus Effort result game, but quarterfinal number 4 is going to be an absolute beauty.
I'm definitely sticking around until then, I think. I should have some time. Also for that semi-final, though, Reject versus Rival Esports is going to be one of the closest matches of today. I call it now. At least I hope so. And we're going to head into a very quick break. We're going to be right back, though, with some action. Navi versus Effort result.
What's up, guys?
ナビに、クルさんとりょうえいさんが、加入したことは、まあ、攻める、りょうえいさんがタンクとかを使って攻める役で、まあ、ミッドでクルさんで安定取って、まあ、アチャピさんで、まあ、バランス、サイドでバランス取るみたいな、かなり3人の、スタイルが合ってるのかなと思います。
クルさんはまず長射程キャラクターがとても使うのが上手い選手で、良平選手は、良平さんはタンクを使うのがとても得意なんで、自分はそのアンチタンク、タンクのメタキャラって言われるキャラクターを使うのが基本的に得意なので、まあ、そんな感じでかなりバランスの取れたチームメイトたちと組むことが今年はできたかなというふうに思います。
Kenny, we'll catch up with you soon. For now, we get Ark back. What did you feel like that last match went down? Did you like what you saw, or did you feel like Frenzy Gaming could have taken that one if they just changed up their strat a little bit?
I didn't like what I saw. I think the draft was just not great. I mean, I could kind of get an idea as to what they might have been going for, yeah, it just really wasn't the play. And you know, guys, if you're not banning Hank in this meta, like you haven't quite got the alarm call yet, because that's quite an important thing to do. And to get that wrong twice is unforgivable, in my opinion. Like, if you run into a Hank and you struggle, then the next thing you're doing in that set is banning a Hank. And if you're not doing that, then you deserve to lose. No offense, but I mean, come back stronger, right? So.
At least they always listened to the casters. They were wishing or hoping for them to ban out the Hank. They banned Hank, then left Ollie open, so Ollie was picked up. It just didn't really work out the way that we were hoping for them to go. Still, they took a set. Let's see if effort result, and now we can do the same here if it's going to be another 3-0, because I do feel like we do have a clear favorite here. Is it safe to say that Navi should take this one, Trev?
I think a majority of people are going to be saying that. I will say in the last one I expected the majority of people to be saying that the same team was going to win again, but the prediction went the complete other way. So I'm unsure if there's kind of a bit of a something going on with the viewers today that just kind of swaying the predictions a little bit. But yeah, this Navi team 100% should be winning. They seem extremely strong. The names in this roster should be winning the majority of matches. And as a result, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to put that much of a fight. I'm thinking more of the same, 3-0, 3-1, something like that.
So I have a theory with the polls, and I think that on the event side, because it's going by the win rates, right? And we didn't see last month, Rival Esports qualify. That those that maybe less familiar with the rosters might just be going with the highest win rate, and like that last series, it would have been the other way around. So let's see though on this one. I mean, I feel like effort results certainly are the underdogs. There's no kind of way around it, really. I think Navi are certainly the favourites. You know, when you've got a world champion on your team like a Chappie, you know, you tend to have some credentials that come with that. So I think it's going to be tough. Certainly, though, I think in the past it's been difficult for both Chappie and Kuru when it comes to LCQs. Not really getting out of those stages has been quite costly for them over the years.
Certainly. I mean, we do have on one side one player that has made 2 world finals, 2 wins in the world finals, so Chappie definitely a threat. We had a little chat with him, and let's hear what he had to say about their lost month against Crazy Raccoon.
先月クレイジーラクーンと準決勝で戦って負けたんですけど、よくよく、後から反省してみれば、相手がよく使っているキャラクターだったりだとか、そういうキャラクターをもうちょっとバンするべきだったんじゃないかなっていうのを後で反省しました。
Impressive career. He hasn't yet made it into a grand final this year, though. Could that be the case today, Ark?
I think certainly so. Many who thought that maybe last month we would have seen Navi actually in the grand finals. Of course, taking their loss to Crazy Raccoon, a tough thing to consider. It was a sweep as well, which makes it that little bit worse and tough. But certainly for a chappie, I mean, he's just got so much under his belt. Two-time world champion. Back in 2021 with Zeta Division, and then 2022 with Zeta Division 0. Back-to-back world champion. I mean, that's just unheard of. In any game, let alone in the global stage in Brawl Stars. I mean, just incredible, really, when you think about it. But has been a tough few years. Looking back last year and the year prior to that. With rejecting the LCQ, not coming out of that, and then last year with Navi getting swept by Reply Totem. I think from memory there was a game earned by Navi in each of those sets, but they didn't make it to day 2. Really quite a sort of poor show in the past few years, but looking to make things different in 2025.
Even though Navi are the favorites here, effort result is also looking really, really strong. Their stats are looking phenomenal so far. They haven't made it out of the quarterfinal last month, but that could happen today, Trev.
It could, and honestly, I wouldn't mind it happening either. Not that I've got anything against Navi at all. Everybody loves an underdog story, so effort result are the heavy underdogs in this one, I will say as well. So I'm kind of expecting Navi to come out on top, but I would love to see effort result get a result, you could say.
We want to have a little look at how many sets they actually took. At the stats from the previous month, Ark, it's looking not too bad for effort here.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite impressed actually when I saw this stat, to be completely honest. I had to sort of double check to make sure that they'd sort of played enough through the qualifiers to, sort of make it make sense in that regard. But certainly I would say that there is the elephant in the room, and that Hot Zone is definitely the weaker of the mode. So I'd kind of be looking to see where that particular game mode is situated in the rotation, and whether it's like an early stage or not, because if it's like the first set, then that's going to be a really tough thing to bounce back from. But yeah, pretty commendable in fairness. But again, you got to look in the context of like who are they facing in those instances, and kind of like the big picture as to like what teams they were facing during those results. But I think that for a team that are an up and coming for this region, it's great to see them having some results. Against Navi, it's just going to be a tough one.
Yes, Hot Zone is not really their strong suit. They're lucky though. At least they don't have to start with it right away. We're gonna have a look at the maps here, and we see Hot Zone is only the second set. So at least they can kind of ease into the series, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, for a stat like that, as Ark says, it does depend who you're playing against, but at the same time, Navi's probably one of the teams that you don't want to be playing your worst mode against, right? So Ring of Fire as a second, probably not going to help them out too much, but as you say, at least it's not the first. If they get a little bit of momentum in Gold Arm Gulch, if they manage to win that knockout, possibly they'll be able to carry that over and take Ring of Fire, but worst case scenario, they're only going to be 0-2 down. They're not down and out. They can still bring it back from that point. It's just increasingly unlikely as those sets go by. But as you just saw, all of us still siding with Navi regardless.
I think it's going to put a lot of pressure, honestly, in that regard on that first set, because they've got to get through it. 87% on the event site for Navi is a substantial sway as well. I think it's going to be tough. This first set has got a lot riding on it.
Well, 87%, I will say, is definitely the convincing one. 13% goes the way of Efrazol, and that is probably a bit more of a expected prediction from the community. I will say Navi being the organization they are, the following they have, and also the results that they should be getting as well. As we get into the draft, though, we're heading on to Gold Arm Gulch. Mr. P going to be banned out, obviously, with the hypercharge. Ridiculous at the moment. A Kit and an Angelo as well. You don't really want those cheesy comps with like the Kit and the Daryl, that kind of thing, Kit and Buster, especially when you are the team coming in as the favorite, as Navi are. They don't want to take any risks, so I'm not surprised they've got rid of that. The Ollie, the Gene, and the Hank on the other side. Efrazol, they know what they're doing with these bans.
What catches my eye here, only one of the long-range brawlers out of the way. Angelo, the only one banned out. With that, we have brawler like RT, Piper, Nani, and also Mendy with the new Hypercharge open now.
Yeah, I think the other thing we haven't really spoken about today so far is like the difference between last month and this month, and how much we saw Kit in this region last month as the first monthly final coming into the
man, stream right now. Peace, guys.
And now